Good morning, everyone. Thursday, Friday Eve. Ah, got another jam-packed stream. Got just a bunch of stuff today. Got some startup AI news. We'll watch the OpenAI ship or shit miss. And we got some startup AI startup news. We'll cover some space news and also a little gaming news today. We're going to take a deep dive into what Windows Central did on Xbox's strategy, which is interesting. We may not read the whole thing because it's really long, but it seems interesting. Right up the stream's alley. There's also this that I actually just discovered this morning here. Seems kind of interesting. A physics platform designed for general purpose robotics, embodied AI and physical AI applications. And I guess you could kind of generate like 4D worlds as in like worlds with different perspectives to be able to like train an AI on like multimodal things, but also just gives them different perspectives on different things to be able to have them learn it and understand it. But interesting. Might cover it a different I'll save it, different stream. All right. Let's start off with some this AI news here. Hey, what is this email I just got? Okay. So Decart. I was thinking of the name. I was like Brady's Brain, stream alumni, previously covered on the stream. Decart, the guys, the company who has the AI generated Minecraft. Remember this? I did a pretty in-depth stream on this, covering it. But it has a generative AI open world model. It's like yeah. My kind of opinion was that it's cool and it's interesting, but really it seems like the use cases are pretty limited still, hence the Minecraft tech demo and not something more applicable. But if this is what it takes to get the idea out there, then so be it. But they raised $32 million, $500 million valuation to build AI tech and open world apps. I have no idea what this means, probably because it's a bit of a marketing stuff. Oh, yo. I actually wrote down, here we go. We got this is what I've been digging up in the ether today. We got these are the kind of things left. Tasks are the leaks have been more so coming out, so I think tasks are likely coming today or tomorrow. I still think a GPT 4.5 update, and then with tasks it seems like there's something kind of around like more agents or like operators or something. I don't know, people are kind of mixing the names, they're like using different names, but it seems like it's just kind of the background of the background tasks in a way, which kind of are being called agents. But I don't know, I definitely think tasks and maybe a GPT 4.5 tomorrow, but if not GPT 4.5, then this operator thing or none of it. But I think this tasks is a pretty good chance today, but we'll see. And the leaks are pretty like clear. Let me see if I don't know if I could find them. I think I favorited it. Hang on. likes. Yeah, I guess like tasks and like the agents are more just automations. Yeah, this is what people are saying. Today, tasks. Tomorrow, announcement or release. Less likely, something more significant like GPT 4.5 or agents. But they're saying agents, but what OpenAI is calling GPTs are essentially agents. What other people are calling agents. Mistral has the exact same thing as GPTs, but they call them agents. But yeah, this is what we're getting at. It seems like in the tasks, yeah, something like this. Like a cron job, essentially. I guess. Kind of leaked it before. What is he got going on up here? Yeah, tasks. Decode for, yeah. Never heard of this. Yeah, so we'll see. Okay. Yeah, but we've got Decart AI behind the Minecraft generative AI, generative Minecraft, but young startup that emerged from stealth less than 2 months ago. Actually, Decart is kind of one of the first, one of my like more first streams actually even. Young startup emerged from stealth less than 2 months ago with big name backers and bigger ambitions is returning to the spotlight. Decart is building what its CEO and co-founder Dean Leitersdorf, this guy, described as vertically integrated AI research lab alongside enterprise and consumer products based on the lab's work. This seems to definitely be a trend too, where, I mean, AI, we are definitely early still, and so it is more so research, and I do like the framing because I think there's a lot of research to be done, and these companies, especially the for-profit ones, should be contributing to research, I think, initially, to be able to understand it more, to build actual like applicable enterprise like B2B and consumer products. I heard some criticism of OpenAI recently where they haven't really contributed much to actual like AI research. They may be doing it behind the scenes themselves, but they aren't really publishing a lot of it. And I do think I agree with that, because a lot of the other big AI companies are actually participating and contributing to research and releasing it. And I think right now, since we're still figuring a lot of it out, that really benefits everyone, and keeping it to yourself, I feel like isn't really, I don't know if that even gets you a competitive advantage right now, since everyone's moving so quick and we're still pretty early. Like Anthropic released something recently where research where if they found that the AI could like fake learning data, which is interesting. That's interesting. And if if other companies are running into that, it allows them to kind of, I don't know, fix that. And they released it, so I don't know. Anyways, I guess this seems to be a trend, and I think it's a good start to focus more on research and then make products based off of the research. So its first enterprise product optimizes GP. Oh, right. And so actually their product was more so an actual something in like the transformers that optimize the use of like transformer architecture or something. That's actually what they're more so, is more of like a infrastructure platform. Yeah. We've demonstrated that generalization of transformer architecture beyond large language models can lead to state-of-the-art results across different fields, such as generative diffusion models. Thus, we choose to utilize a transformer model for the noise prediction. Yeah. Yeah, we relied on a proprietary optimization infrastructure developed by Decart over the past year and deployed it towards a widespread effort on the acceleration of all the underlying operatives used as part of the model inference. Yeah, this is kind of what they're actually selling more so. The reason they're able to do this is because they found a lot of efficiency in generating like video models live, and that's why you could kind of play the game, is because of the reduced latency and increase in performance that they figured out. And they're working with Etched to they're going to work with Etched or buy Etched Transformer GPU Sohu, which, yeah, here we go. The Transformer ASIC by Etched, which is very efficient for what they're doing. Okay, got it. Okay, kind of, I remember now. Yeah, its first enterprise product optimizes GPU use and is already bringing in millions of dollars in revenue. Holy shit, seriously? That's crazy, actually. So this is like, you know, we've been seeing a lot of inflation in AI startups especially, but just valuation of AI products. You know, arguably we're in a bubble, especially for startups, because I don't know, they're getting insane valuations when they have zero money, but the fact that they're bringing in millions of dollars in revenue, like, actually makes it seem like they're further ahead of most other AI startups who have zero revenue and don't even have a product yet. So this actually seems kind of justified in a way. It still might, I don't know what millions of dollars mean, but I don't know, this actually seems like maybe justified. In its first consumer product, a playable open-world AI model called Oasis was released when Decart came out of stealth and already claims millions of players. Yeah, I mean, players is like a stretch. It's more so like millions of people trying it out. Now, on the back of a strong launch out of the gates, Decart, based in San Francisco but with operations in Israel, has raised another $32 million in the Series A round led by Benchmark. The funding comes less than 2 months after the company has raised a seed round of $21 million from Sequoia and Z Ventures, with the two firms also participating in the latest Series A. And this is also a trend too, where these startups are raising multiple times, like within like months. Perplexity recently, which we actually covered on stream, around the same time, actually, Decart, we covered Decart, they raised like $500 million, and they just recently raised like another $500 million, something crazy, just a few months later. TechCrunch understands from sources that Decart's new post-money valuation is now over $500 million. For a point of comparison, the seed round valued it at just over $100 million. Yeah, I mean, a 5x in valuation in a few months is kind of crazy. Not sure how justifiable, or like if that's like legit. Leitersdorf, a youthful 26 full of energy and coming in fast. So youthful 26 full of energy coming in fast. This is like the old person way of like describing someone. It's like, yeah, he's, you know, he's really fit, nice and lean, you know. Like, okay, grandpa. He says the aim is not just to take on big players in the AI field like OpenAI, Anthropic, Mistral, and the rest. Instead, he wants to build a kilocorn, a $1 trillion company. Okay. Okay, I don't know about this guy now. Kilocorn? Kilocorn? I know it's a play on unicorn, because usually they call unicorns starts with a $1 billion valuation. Why a kilocorn? What does this even mean? Hectocorn? This is the term we're using? This is Korra. I mean, it's kind of, there's no other, it's all like Xenoblade. It's like a fictional character. What's the term kilo? What's like the prefix mean? $1,000. uni, maybe, you know, like uni 1 kilo multiple. I've never heard of kilo corn. Anyways, we have a long way to go, and we have great stuff to build, he added. That said, he noted that yes, the company has already been approached by buyers multiple times, and there are some interesting comparables. If you look at the optimization piece it has built, such as Run AI getting acquired by Nvidia for $700 million. Yeah, I actually think next year is there's going to be a lot of acquisitions, especially in AI. I think some of these startups are going to mature a bit, realize that they may not be able to make money anytime soon, or you know, or they just want an exit because maybe they don't really see an end in sight, or the VCs are going to pressure them to get an exit because the bubble might be getting too high and it might be shrinking. I don't know. There could be many reasons, but I think next year is going to be the year of AI acquisitions by larger tech companies. And I think it's also going to in part because they're larger companies are kind of figuring out where they might need new technology as they iron out and do more research into AI, generative AI, and things of that nature. Leidesdorf exuberance comes after a decade of impressive momentum that got him where he is now. Born in Israel, Leidesdorf spent his early years there before moving with his family to Switzerland and then Palo Alto following his parents' work. They're doctors and researchers. As teens, Palo Alto High School, he pushed... Okay, no offense, I kind of want to talk about the company. Yeah, just 2 years, then he jumps into university back in Israel at Technion. There he finished undergraduate, master's, and PhD, working computer science in just 5 years, overlapping his military service. That's mandatory in Israel. His co-founder, Moshe Shalev, pictured above on the left, is impressive in a different way. He came to computer science during his time in the IDF and turned out to have a knack for it. Helped establish and build a run AI operations in the IDF's 8200 intelligence unit. Is that like intelligence units like Mossad, where he worked for nearly 14 years. There's a third co-founder with an equally impressive background, but his name is not yet disclosed due to existing commitments. Interesting. Okay, Decart before the horse. As Decart, as it exists today, is focusing on 3 primary areas: systems, currently infrastructure, optimization. This is what I thought their primary product actually is. Like, this is what they're actually selling: models, AI algorithms, and data, applications that ingest and return data. Decart's first product, launched while in stealth earlier this year, is in the systems camp. Software to help optimize how GPU processes work when training and running inference workloads on AI models. This in itself is actually, this is an easy sell to existing companies because kind of actually mentioned before, like a lot of companies don't actually sell. A lot of companies on their pages, on their a lot of companies on their marketing sites usually list orders of benefits below the actual their first order benefit. So like their first order of benefit is either saving time or money. In this case, maybe even both. But they usually list, you know, something that's more abstract, like because you save time and money, you could hire more people or something. So they push the hiring more people instead of actually just saying that they save more time and money. Anyways, this is such an easy sell because it literally just saves you time and money, or just money. And so this is probably why they already have millions of revenue, just because they solved a serious problem that, you know, saves companies money, and that's an easy sell. Turns out that software works very well. It's being used by a number of companies to reduce some of the operational costs that come with building or using artificial intelligence models. Leidesdorf said using Decart software workloads that might typically cost $100 an hour can be brought down to mere 25 cents an hour. Yeah, this sell is so easy. And this is good for Decart because this is insane technology if it could do something like this. I wonder what, if any, there's like downsides though, because why would every single AI customer not want to go after this right now? That definitely got people's attention, he joked. Indeed, AI is very hot right now, but it seems that companies building tech to improve how well AI works are even hotter. Decart is not naming any of its customers, but it claims its revenue is already in the millions, and there are enough customers that the company was profitable when it launched in the start of November. It's on track to remain profitable throughout the end of the year, Lightstorm added, and that interest from the market is another likely reason why VCs are interested. Yeah, with hence probably raising a good chunk of money. Decart's innovation makes AI generation not only more efficient but also more accessible for any type of user. That general partner at Benchmark who led the deal. By removing barriers to entry and significantly reducing costs, they are empowering a new wave of creativity and practical applications. We're proud to join them on this journey as they redefine possibilities of AI and its roles for our everyday lives. And the fact that, because they, in their blog post, they actually talk about video generation a lot, which they actually compare, their frames per second, theirs. I mean, you can see Sora down here, but and then we also probably have a Google's VO2. They didn't mention it, but and I don't know if VO is like a diffusion model, but I think that's key here is like any company that has a generative video model this would save them so much money from compute to $100 an hour to mere 25 cents. Like, yeah. That optimization product may so far be the engine driving the startup's bottom line, but it's not Decart's primary focus. Leidsdorf said Decart built it to help finance and businesses while in stealth, based in part on research he had done when still a student. Leidsdorf said Decart's second product is in tune with what he hopes to do in the future. The Minecraft-like Oasis is playable AI that generates real-time responsive audio and visual interactions. The plan is to launch more experiences along these lines, says Leidsdorf. Why, though? These will include an upgraded Oasis game and others powered by generative AI. These could include AR or VR experiences that would not need specific hardware to run. I mean, AR and VR is very optimistic, but yeah, I just don't know why. Like, if anything, it seems like it just would cost them a lot of money, maybe like marketing, but even then, like, yeah, I don't know. The problem with VR and AR previously was that we started with hardware rails. He said, but building hardware is hard. Getting people to adopt new hardware is hard. The nice thing about Gen AI is that we can actually build AR in the software part. We can actually bring value before the hardware is even ready. I don't know. It's kind of jumped. I don't really get this though. Like, actually build AR in the software part. I mean, I guess it seems like what they're saying is that maybe you don't need an AR headset, but you could build like augmented reality just by generating like a 3D or an augmented reality looking type of world or something. You could argue that Decart may have ironically put the cart before the horse when it comes to some of its ambitions. Leidsdorf didn't give me much of an answer on the company's position on customers that wanted to use its optimization software to build or run nefarious models, nor does the company have a plan to ensure the applications it develop do not get misused or abused. I mean, like, bro, how are you going to misuse playing Minecraft? Right now, he said, those are not scenarios that have presented themselves. Focus appears to be getting more people interested in its work across the platform and turning that activity into revenue. Yeah, so it seems like marketing, the like new generative AI worlds and games or whatever is just marketing. The real kingmakers are the users, Leidsdorf said. They're the ones that matter. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Let's see. I wonder if they posted any more information. These are just publications, but there hasn't been anything new. About 2 hours ago was the first time they tweeted since December 10th. Yeah, I mean, this is like around when we covered it the first time. Been advancing new larger models and technologies to further our mission of redefining how we experience AI in everyday life, and we can't wait to share. All right. Interesting. I don't know. I guess we'll see though, because I'm curious as to what they're going to build next, especially if they're going to build another like 3D like world or whatever, generative world. Ooh. But regardless, it seems like the technology they built is actually like very useful and saves a lot of money, and so I mean, makes sense that at least them having a good business. But the fact that they don't actually list any of its customers or share any more details is a little weird, but I guess that's their discretion for now. But yeah, okay, let's check out Perplexity here. Yeah, Perplexity actually recently raised money too. Yeah, I don't see here, but Perplexity acquired Carbon. Which is likely a RAG. Carbon AI. Seems like it's a retrieval augmented generation type of thing. Connect external data to LLMs no matter the source. Yeah. Which, like, I guess, okay, yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's essentially retrieval. Yeah, it's RAG applications, retrieval augmented generation. But this is interesting because I don't really know what Perplexity's play is here. Perplexity is trying to be like a search application, but they kind of have these spaces things where you could put in documents. So then, you know, they want you to like chat with like work documents and maybe then use the internet to like fact check things or something. You know, I guess it's kind of been like an interesting. I just don't really know what their actual strategy is here. It seems like they're kind of casting a bit of a wide net, not really sticking to what like their core product is. Yeah, I don't know. Let's read and then we'll do some more analysis. Perplexity acquired a small Seattle-based startup called Carbon, which specializes in connecting AI systems to external data sources, the company's announced Wednesday. CEO Aravind, I'm so sorry, bro. Srinivasan, Raven, yeah, says that it will allow Perplexity to search through your files and work messages in Notion, Google Docs, Slack, and other enterprise applications sometime in early 2025. But why? Carbon specializes in retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, which allows large language models to access information from external databases before it generates an answer. By bringing Carbon's technology and staff on board, Perplexity could be opening the door to launch enterprise search products. Yeah, I guess maybe that's more so what it is. It's just more so search for your products, but like that's like why do we need this? Like, why do we need just these fat AI applications to have search on products? Like, full text search existed before, using actually very similar. You know, like full text search uses like a vector type of. I'm not saying the words right, but they use like vectors in a similar fashion that AI do, but I don't know why. Yeah, why it needs AI to do this. These tools connect generative AI to enterprise databases. Yeah, why do we need generative AI to like search on things? Allowing employees to quickly search through the mass of unstructured data in their company have acquired over years. Unstructured data makes sense. I don't know. This just doesn't really seem like the most efficient use of compute or the best strategy to like search unstructured data. I feel like a better strategy would almost be like using LLM to make it structured and then inputting it into a traditional database, which is fantastic at like things like this, at you know, operations like full text search. You know, there's literally entire startups, companies, industries just around full text search, like Elasticsearch, Melisearch, TypeSense, Algolia. These are like Algolia alone is like $1 billion startup just on search. But it's like, why do you need AI search? Search and product discovery. I mean, these are essentially all companies that are competing with Perplexity. If that's what they want to get into. Yeah, I don't know. This is an interesting change, or interesting acquisition. Carbon will make it easier for Perplexity's answer engine to be informed by diverse sources of information, whether that data resides in internal databases, cloud storage, or document repositories, said Perplexity in a statement. Enterprise AI is quickly becoming a competitive space in the AI world. OpenAI reportedly told investors in its latest $6.6 billion round that they could not also invest in Glean, the current frontrunner in enterprise search. They could not also invest in Glean? Bro. What is that? That's interesting. Glean has reportedly inspired OpenAI, Google, and several other AI giants to develop their own enterprise search products, and Perplexity, perhaps they've inspired Perplexity as well. And perhaps they've inspired Perplexity as well. This is Perplexity's second acquisition following its 2023 acquisition of Spellwise, whose CEO was brought on to develop Perplexity's mobile app. Yeah, so this is interesting. So I guess they're willing to just get into more enterprise search. I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about like search strategies, but this just, I don't know. Is there? This is weird, actually. Imagine like OpenAI telling its investors, like, "Hey, don't invest in these companies because they're competing with us, and we don't want you to invest in them." Ilya Sutskever was like previously like chief like scientist or research scientist at OpenAI, and I guess it seems like they kind of had a falling out with the previous Sam Altman drama. The fact that he said that not to like invest in them is kind of weird. Two AI application firms, including AI search startup Perplexity and enterprise search firm Glean, were also named in OpenAI's conversations with investors, suggesting OpenAI plans to sell more of its tools to enterprises and end users as it makes ambitious revenue growth projections to $11.6 billion in 2025 from $3.6 billion this year. OpenAI, Perplexity, and SSI declined to comment, and Anthropic and Glean did not immediately respond. What is Glean? For AI, work AI for all. I actually feel like I've had this same like, oh, I wonder what Glean is, and this and looked at it on stream. This looks familiar. Genre cool vendors for digital workplace apps. Like, this seems like a participation award type of report. Find and understand information, create and summarize content, automate work. Interesting. Let's look at Perplexity's announcement. I love Perplexity's branding. Excited to announce that we've acquired Carbon, a retrieval engine that connects external data sources to large language models. Soon we'll integrate Carbon's data connectors into our tech stack, allowing users to connect apps like Notion and Google Docs directly to Perplexity. As part of the acquisition, we're excited to welcome all members of the Carbon team to Perplexity to expedite our roadmap and ship new features faster. I do like to see when a company acquires another company that they actually onboard all members, or at least give them the option, like with a nice severance. Because they may like their job that they had at Carbon, but then, I don't know, they may not like it at Perplexity, and the fact that they actually at least offer them all jobs is, I don't know, it's good to see. We believe your AI should be personal to you, at home, work, or on the go, and data connectivity is a key part of everyone's daily workflow. Carbon will make it easier for Perplexity to answer and Perplexity's answer engine to be informed by diverse sources of information, where that data resides in internal databases, cloud storage, or document repositories. They're making it seem like, though, like it's just improving the answer engine overall and not like just for your organization. Like wording's kind of weird. It seems like they want to like ingest it all and like train their their models on your data. I don't know. This wording is kind of weird. I kind of got that vibe in the TechCrunch article too. Rather than making users search through many different web pages, apps, and messages to find the answer they're looking for, we see a future where Perplexity does the research for you, bringing the most critical insights across sources together as part of the answer. Carbon will simplify the process for our users to connect data sources that matter to them. 2024 was an unprecedented year in growth and product evolution for Perplexity. We will launch Enterprise Pro, introduce new capabilities like spaces and internal file search, and powered new search experiences like shopping, analyzing live earnings call transcripts. Proud of what we've accomplished and have lots more to come in 2025. Yeah, so I don't know. Likely too, Perplexity wants to actually get actual more enterprise customers. I imagine they're probably used more for personal use, just like searching. And they probably want to be positioned more to B2B. That's where the money is. If you're not, I mean, it's just initially definitely. Have some picture rapid, in-depth prospect research, empowering them to craft compelling pitches. I want to see specifically how they use it, because like it's kind of hard to imagine it right now. Self-serve flow with pricing at $40 a month a seat, $400 a year. Solution for organizations that need to boost their productivity, leverage Perplexity's full capabilities, and meet strict security requirements. Enterprise Pro helps you'll get. See, like this is what I'm saying. Like it's so. I don't know, the marketing speak is just hard to cut through sometimes. I love this aesthetic though. It's cool. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, Perplexity seems to be doing pretty well. I haven't really been using them just because now like everything has search built in, which I do wonder how it will affect Perplexity. I mean, Mistral has web search, ChatGPT has web search, Claude doesn't yet. Google Gemini, I mean, that's built on web search stuff. I mean, those are kind of the bigger ones. I don't know. I imagine though, people are just like tend to stick to one platform and just use whatever they offer. So I'm sure those who use Perplexity like only use Perplexity and really like it. Those who use ChatGPT probably pretty much only use it. What is this? NVIDIA app slows games. Recently released app has been found to impact game performance, with some titles experiencing up to 15% reduction in frame rates. That's crazy. Yeah, NVIDIA released a new app. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Close some tabs. Where we started. We looked at Decart. Save that. Yeah, we'll look at this after. This is probably what we look at after. Look at this this one real quick while we're waiting for OpenAI, because this was interesting. I'm interested in energy technology, especially clean energy technology, green tech, especially storage, energy storage, because that I do wonder. We did a lot of energy coverage yesterday, but I wonder as we progress, we actually build out energy, it seems like the next bottleneck we're going to hit is energy storage. We're already hitting it arguably, but it seems like there's less emphasis on energy storage than there is energy generation, especially as, you know, we come to up to 2030 when some nuclear projects are going to be finished. We covered a fission project, the first large scale fission project in Virginia, but little to no talk about energy storage. We've covered some other alternative energy storage systems, like using compressed air and water, or just the potential energy. Those like potential energy battery storage systems, like the lifting the crane to the concrete block, dropping weights and lifting them in like mine shafts and shit. But yeah, I think that we're gonna need to start focusing on energy storage, especially with green energy, like that are more inconsistent. Solar, wind, you know, only solar pretty much only during the day and when the sun's out. Wind when it's windy in, you know, some places. So yeah, these are problems that I feel like we're gonna see. It's gonna be the new bottlenecks after we get energy storage figured, or energy generation figured out. And this is thermal storage is actually big, because that's salt batteries. Molten salt is a lot of how we store heat and then turn it into power using steam. And I think thermal storage, like, it's kind of just a existing technology that's, I don't know, maybe tested time, and so it might be a good strategy here to start or to use. Yeah, for mini industries. So this is Heim Energy signs global deal with Arla to scale thermal energy to tech. Let's actually look at Heim Energy first. Making green heat for industry accessible always. And also something like what are they called? Like the solar heat generation. Yeah, this solar thermal energy. No, this isn't what I want. Oh yeah, here we go. These. No, these are horrible pictures. I want like a top-down view. Come on, Wikipedia. This is a huge picture. It's like lagging to zoom. Ah. The last picture. Solar thermal energy. Ah, here we go. Jesus. Bro, it's in the wiki. Whoa, it took me to the Wikipedia page. Come on, guys. Yeah, like these, I guess. Come on. A good picture. Ah, this perfect. Perfect. Yes. Okay, so this is how we this is a more like traditional solar, you know, using the sun's energy to generate power, where these mirrors reflect this, you know, thing up here that heats up water, and it goes down and it produces steam. But you could also use you could heat things like molten salt to produce steam. Also, yeah, it's also known as thermal energy. It can be used to spin a turbine to power an engine to generate electricity. It could also be used in a variety of industrial applications like water desalination. enhanced oil recovery, food processing, chemical production, mineral processing. Concentrating solar thermal power systems are generally used for utility scale projects. Yeah, these things are huge. These utility scales, concentrating solar CSP, I don't know. Configured different ways. Power tower systems arrange mirrors around a central tower that acts as a receiver. Linear systems have rows and mirrors that concentrate the sunlight into parallel tubes. Smaller CSP systems. Yeah. You have thermal energy storage systems, which is what Heim Energy is. Is reduced to curtail energy production. One challenge facing the widespread use of solar energy is reduced or curtail energy production when the sun sets or is blocked by clouds. Yeah, thermal energy storage provides a workable solution to this challenge. The concentrating solar power, CSP system, sends rays reflected onto a receiver, which creates heat that is then used to generate electricity that can be used immediately or stored for later use. This enables CSP systems to be flexible, dispatchable options providing clean, renewable energy. Several sensible thermal energy storage technologies have been tested. Yeah, these have been around for a while. We have a 2-tank system. Solar energy in the system is stored in the same fluid used to collect it. The fluid is stored in 2 tanks, one at high temperatures and another at low temperatures. Fluid from the low temperature tank flows through the solar collector or receiver, where solar energy heats it to high temperatures, and then it flows to the high temperature tank for storage. Fluid from the high temperature tanks flows to a heat exchanger where it generates steam for electricity. And the fluid for the heat exchanger, it's typical, like almost like a water cooling, gaming PC. How we have it goes in cold, comes out hot, cools down, goes back in, and just kind of continues. Oh yeah, here molten salt. This is what I've been. So 2-tank direct storage was used in early parabolic trough systems, power plants such as solar electric generating station 1, and at the solar 2 power tower in California, which is I think it's down by like Palm Springs or something. The trough plants use mineral oil as the heat transferred in storage fluid. Solar 2 use molten salt. So let's go back to Heimdall, and let's see what they actually use. Now we kind of understand a bit more. Cost-effective and green process heat. Heim's solution converts affordable renewables into high-temperature, decarbonized steam around the clock. And let's look at their solution. Green process steam with thermal energy storage. Transforming renewable electricity into reliable steam, making it easy for industries to transition green steam to cut emissions. Yeah, how though? Storing clean electricity when it's cheapest, most abundant, and releasing green heat around the clock on demand. Yeah, this is the typical strategy for energy storage, especially potential energy storage systems like what these are. This one, I guess, can potential energy be measured in heat and not necessarily just with gravity? Let's look at the definition. Potential energy is energy that's held by an object because of its position relative to other objects, stresses within itself, its electrical charge, or other factors. I wonder if heat is considered potential energy, though. Common types of potential energy, gravitational. Yeah, this is the typical. What I think of potential energy, I think of a gravitational. Elastic potential energy, which is probably exactly what you think it is, of a deformed spring. Yeah. And electrical potential energy of an electrical charge and electrical field. The unit for energy. I wonder if is heat. Maybe this is let's ask ChatGPT. Whoops. I don't want to go to some random site. And then I'll pull up the stream here because we're gonna start here. But I got it. Is heat considered a potential energy? Think of I feel like just in itself is a potential energy. Heat is not considered a potential energy. Heat refers to the transfer of thermal energy due to a temperature difference. Clarify. Stored energy based on object's position or configuration in a force. Okay, so I think maybe that's, yeah, it's a force more so. That makes sense. Thermal energy is the internal energy of object due to random motion of its particles. So I guess it's considered thermal. I mean, it definitely is, but I guess I don't know. I would still. The fact that we're saving it for later, I guess, doesn't necessarily mean potential energy. Heat. This is the flow of thermal energy from one's body or system. Heat is not stored, but a process of energy transfer. If you're considering energy in the context of heat, it's typically a kinetic energy at the microscopic level. Okay, that makes sense then too, because that's okay, interesting. Rather than the potential. However, in some cases, thermal energy can also have a potential component in phases. What about when talking about energy storage, like thermal energy storage? Is that considered a code? Both potential and kinetic. Interesting. Okay. Let's talk. I want to see how they store it though. Okay, here we go. We got a quick video. Well, this is see it. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna pull up the OpenAI stream while we're doing this. Renewable energy input. This is so broad. I need to see more details. Okay, here we go. Cool steam. So charging. Renewable electricity is converted into heat through electrical resistance heaters. Interesting. Cold tank salt. Oh, cold tank salt. Oh yeah, so they're using salt. They're using molten salt. Cold tank salt circulates past the heaters, heating up to 600 degrees Celsius. Its energy is stored in the hot tank, ready for use, whether in hours or days. And I think salt just holds energy, holds heat a lot better. I wonder if they actually mentioned it in this article. There we go. The system will be used in many of the parabolic power plants in Spain and also been proposed for several US parabolic plants. And this seems to be the system they're using. The plants will use organic oil as heat transfer fluid and molten salt as the storage fluid. Oh, interesting. So they actually do different. They're using different like liquids, I guess, or different fluids to store it. That's interesting. So I wonder if they're using a 2-tank direct or indirect system. When it's time to discharge, the hot salt releases its stored energy by flowing through a steam generator. Here it transfers heat to water, creating high temperature steam for heat or cogeneration. The cooled salt returns to the cold tank, ready for the next cycle. Okay, interesting. Yeah, hydroxide salts, the key for efficient and affordability. Heim uses a unique family of hydroxide salts, enable greater efficiency and cost savings compared to other salts in thermal energy storage. At Heim's R&D labs are constantly testing materials and the components to drive down costs and optimize their designs, pushing the boundary of what molten salt can deliver. Wow, so they're literally just like a specialization of molten salt. So, all right, so now though, do they have one built? We're actively deploying storage plants in. Okay, I guess. Oh, it's thing. They're not even in the United States. The Moss project Molten Salt Storage brings a strong consortium of partners together to build a first-time storage facility. Repurposing of a cogeneration plant in Bornholm with energy storage will build a demonstration storage plant to replace a fossil-based boiler. I think, though, the key, though, that makes me think this is more successful than the other kind of like alternative storage and energy generation systems is that this exists and is kind of time tested already. They're just making it seems like more not modular, but
I'm Kevin Wheel. I lead product at OpenAI, and I am definitely outclassed by the two gentlemen on my right, who I'm told did not just get these suits 48 hours ago on Amazon.
Definitely own this already. 100%. Yeah.
All right. So you might have noticed we've been putting a lot of effort into our desktop apps. So we launched our Mac desktop app about 6 months ago. We launched our Windows desktop app just a couple months ago. And as our models get increasingly powerful, ChatGPT will more and more become agentic. And that means
this is the agent?
We'll go beyond
the tasks,
just questions and answers. ChatGPT will begin doing things for you. We're seeing that already with products like Canvas, where you're collaborating with ChatGPT to help improve your writing and your code. And that shift will continue. And ChatGPT will do more and more on your behalf. The desktop apps are a big part of that too, because being a desktop app, you can do so much more than you can just in a browser tab. That includes things like, with your permission, of course, being able to see what's on your screen and being able to automate a lot of the work that you're doing
this
on
is what Claude
your desktop.
has.
So we'll have a lot more to say on that as we go into 2025. But we've also got some exciting stuff that we're launching today. So let's dive in.
Again.
All right. Hi, I'm John Nastos, and I work on the ChatGPT desktop team.
My name is Justin Rushing, and I also work on the ChatGPT desktop team. We've got a lot to show you today, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started here. So first things first, this right here is the fully native ChatGPT desktop app for Mac. It does all the things that we've come to expect from our clients. But what I really love about it is that being native, it's really lightweight. It doesn't use a lot of resources. It lives in its own window, and I'm able to use it without having to context switch away from what I'm already doing, right? So we've got this keyboard shortcut, Option Space, that makes it really fast to show and hide ChatGPT. So it's always there when you need it.
Okay.
This button right here is our entry point for working with apps on your computer. And the way that I like to think about this feature is that we all copy and paste things into ChatGPT, right?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
This feature makes that way smoother by when we are working with an app on your computer, we'll automatically pull that context in for you. So you just focus on asking your question, and we'll handle the rest. So you might notice that I've also got this Warp console window open as well. It's currently navigated to a repository that I'm getting up to speed on. And it might seem kind of silly, but I want to figure out how many commits per day are happening in this repo. We talk about velocity a lot here, so I want to see that for myself. I have no idea how to do that, though. So I'm going to use ChatGPT. So when I click on this button, I'm going to see all of the apps that are currently running on my computer that ChatGPT can work with. Right. Important note, until you select one of these, we will never look at the contents of another app. So you are always fully in control over what you're sharing with ChatGPT.
Okay, good.
So to get started, I'm going to click on Warp.
Nothing less.
And at this time, huge shout out to the Warp team for all of their help in getting this going. When we first announced working with apps, we did not have support for Warp, and it was, I think, literally the first request was adding support.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to the team. They worked really hard to help us get it ready for today. So thank you. So I'm going to get started by saying write a command to get the number of commits per day over the past 2 months. And now I don't need to tell ChatGPT that I use Git, because it can tell from Warp that I do. And it's just going to give me the command that I need. So I'll push this button to copy and paste it into Warp. And I think this looks right.
Yeah, it looks like the right information, but it's also kind of hard to tell what we're looking at, right?
Yeah, I'm a visual learner myself. So normally what I would do is I'd figure out how to get this into a spreadsheet, make a chart there, and then find that spreadsheet again in 3 years. But instead, I'm just going to ask for one. So make a bar graph with all of the results why not? Make it holiday themed.
Great idea.
And awesome. So this is going to show off what I think is the coolest part about working with apps, which is that it works with all of the other features and all of the other models.
This is only on Mac?
So in this case, 4.0 decided to use advanced data analysis to crunch some numbers and give me back a bar graph. And what that means, if you really think about it, is that when we build features like advanced data analysis and bring them to ChatGPT, it's kind of like we're bringing them to every app that ChatGPT works with.
Yeah. That's great. So while it thinks about this, do you want to talk a little bit about what the model is actually seeing? Is it just what we see on the screen, or is it something more?
Great question. So an easy way to do this would be to just grab a screenshot and let Vision do the rest. But we actually can reach into the application to grab off-screen content as well. And so these results will contain everything here, not just what you see on screen.
Yeah. Well, it's thinking hard about this. It might be the holiday-themed part.
I know. Oh, okay.
There it is.
Perfect. All right. I mean, that looks pretty holiday themed to me. What do you think, John?
It's holiday themed. I don't know if it's as holiday themed as we are in these suits, but it's not bad.
Literally nothing is as holiday themed as you are.
Yeah.
Perfect. But I'd say it's good enough. So I'm just going to download this, and now I can share it with a teammate. But with that, I'm going to hand it back to John to talk a bit more about programming.
Great.
Cool.
So I think that the use case that Justin showed is really important and useful to be able to interact with a terminal. But I want to show what it's like to interact with code in an IDE. So I have Xcode open here, which is my IDE of choice. And it's running a sample app that is actually a little bit of a peek behind the scenes into how this Work with Apps feature works. The sample app uses the Mac
I would
OS
like, if I ever get a Mac, I'll learn
APIs
Swift.
to look at Xcode
It seems very
and tell
nice.
us some things about what's on the screen. So it's telling us that there's a text field with these
At least for Mac
dimensions.
apps,
It
because that's
tells
really
us
the
that
only
it
thing
has
it's good for.
37 lines, and we can go down and check that.
Looks right to me.
37 lines, yep, and it shows us the content of the text field.
And we actually use this to make the feature, right?
That's right. Yeah, this is a useful sample app for us, for sure. So this is nice, but it doesn't do any live updating. So I'm going to use ChatGPT to help add that feature. I'm going to
Mac
bring
either.
up
Yeah,
the
it
chat
sucks.
bar with a very similar shortcut to what Justin showed earlier, but with a slight change.
But I think most developers working in an enterprise use Mac,
Brings
so
up the chat bar with Xcode automatically
Probably who
paired to
they're
it.
targeting.
Xcode being the topmost app that is open that we support with this feature.
It makes it super quick to start working with an app.
Yeah, it's great. And you get this immediate feedback that it sees Xcode here.
true.
So these accessibility APIs are a little bit inscrutable.
True.
Definitely hard to remember how to use and pretty complicated, actually.
But I think though maybe
so
it's
I'm gonna
because
use the model selector here, and I'm going to switch this to O1.
their Mac app's
O1
like
is
a
one
native
of our newer models
application,
here at
whereas maybe
OpenAI,
the
and
Windows one
it
is just
does
a
great
wrapper
job thinking about these
to the
difficult
website, to
coding
the web app.
problems. And I should mention as well that
Like Electron app
this
or
feature is also
something.
available with O1 Pro if you really want to throw the deep end coding problems at it,
Love that
right?
model.
Yeah. All right, so let's give it a prompt here. I'm going to say add an observer. So if selection changes, load text areas is called. And we'll kick off this request to the model. So O1 is one of our
It's not a web app? Oh, that's
models,
good.
And you can see that it's thinking about this issue. It's going to tell us some of the steps that it goes through as it considers. And wow, that was a pretty fast response from it.
Didn't have to think too hard on that one, I guess.
I guess not.
You got to give it a harder problem next time.
Yeah, wow. All right, so it's generating some code, and I have a fair amount of trust in O1's code here. So as soon as it's finished generating, I'm just going to copy this into Xcode, and we're going to run it and see what happens.
I don't see anything that could go wrong with that.
No, demos.
possibly go wrong?
Yeah, live demos work 100% of the time. It was one of the rules of the universe. All right, so I've copied that code, and I'm pasting it directly into Xcode. I'm going to take a quick scroll through it to see if it's finding any issues. Right now, it's looking pretty promising.
All right.
So let's run this and see what happens.
It would be really cool if you didn't have to copy and paste that back into Xcode, though.
That would be cool. And people have been suggesting that. Should I build that?
You should definitely build that.
All right, PM approved.
Great. All right. So it's running again. Let's take a look. If I select content, oh no, it didn't work like we thought.
Okay.
Should we give it one more shot?
Yeah. Why don't we ask? Yeah.
All right.
These guys are like so in tune
I think
right now.
I'm actually just going to go back to our previous state since I don't have a specific error here. Let's try to discard the changes.
All right. Let's give it one more shot.
Yeah, one more shot.
Yeah.
And while it's working, we can talk about some more of the features here. OK, add an observer. So if selection changes, load text areas is called again. All right, maybe it didn't think hard enough on that.
Yeah.
We'll try it again.
Got overconfident.
Yeah. Well, it thinks about this. I should mention that I'm using Xcode. Like I said, this is my IDE of choice when working with Swift.
Yeah.
But we do support a whole bunch of other IDEs.
Yeah, live video
That
card
means
feed, right.
VS Code.
They're doing pretty good,
JetBrains
though.
ecosystem, which includes
Welcome
Android
back to stream.
Studio and
No
PyCharm,
4.5 tomorrow because
RubyMine,
one day
things
left
like
and there's
that.
the leak
Some
from yesterday.
really
Yeah. Maybe they
standby Mac apps
double
like
it today.
TextMate and BBEdit. So we've got a whole lot of different support here.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
actually
tasks then
unreasonably
tomorrow.
excited for MATLAB support. I would have totally
Bro,
used that in
who-
college.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Screw MATLAB.
is another exciting one. I think some students.
Yeah, I want to have MATLAB support so no college student has to go through the process of
It is
learning
still
that.
generating some code. There it goes. It's done.
Okay.
You can use this copy button again.
As someone who was forced to
Again,
learn
with
MATLAB.
full trust that everything is going to work. I'm going to
I guess
paste
now
it
we know
in.
what could go wrong, though, right?
Yeah, sure. All right, so let's run this again and see if we have slightly better luck. OK, it's running. Hey, look at
there
that.
it
If I
is.
select
right.
things, it changes. Wow, it's a holiday miracle.
You got the incantation to the demo gods right the
Yeah,
second time.
Exactly.
Glad, yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. So we've been talking a lot about coding today, right? But another thing that I love to use ChatGPT for is helping me with my writing. And I know I'm not alone here. And so that's why today we're announcing support for 3 new applications: Apple Notes, Notion, and Quip. We think this is going to open up a
don't
brand
use
new
any
set
of
of use
those.
cases for working with apps, and
I
so
used
we
Notion
can't
for
wait
a
to
while,
see
but
what
not
you all
anymore.
do with it. With that,
But these are all native
John, Kevin, you already
Mac
know this,
apps, though,
but
right?
for the rest
Or-
of you,
It's not
I
for
give
Windows?
walking history tours in San Francisco outside of work.
Nice,
Big
that's
history
actually
buff. San
sick.
Francisco's got a great story to tell, and I'm actually working on a brand new walking tour. And so
Let's
why don't we
delve
craft a
into
feature?
writing,
Help
yeah.
me out with that.
Let's do it.
It is a wrapper
Right,
still?
so
Oh, okay, dang.
here
So probably
I
none of these
have
native
a
app
Notion
stuff.
document open on my computer. I always write my tours in Notion. And this is actually a real walking tour that I'm working
Also, Notion has their own AI product, so this is interesting. Notion AI, which is like supposed to kind of help you with this.
on a news stop for my favorite character in San Francisco history, Emperor Norton. I know some high-level talking points. He was the self-proclaimed Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico, who lived in San Francisco in the 1800s. And
Yeah, it is
he
dangerous.
even made his own currency that was actually valid in the city for a while.
That's
So-
something you can just do?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah,
apparently
yeah,
you can.
you're right.
And, I think it's
Because
gonna make for
Notion
a
has an
great tour.
API, so they likely just used their API and kind of just did it themselves, and
Me out. One option would be to copy and paste these bullets over, and I think chat would do a pretty good job at going with that. But it would be helpful if it had context of the entire document, right? And so instead, I'm going to have ChatGPT work directly with Notion.
yeah.
So I'm going to hit Option Space to bring up ChatGPT, have it work with Notion, and I'm actually going to go ahead and just highlight the stop here so that the model knows what to pay attention to. And so now we can see we're working with Notion in the walking tour document, focused on selected lines. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, fill out these talking points. Right? Don't need to be any more specific than that. But one thing that is really important is that this is a walking tour, right? This is a history tour. Things need to be factually correct. And so to help with that, I'm going to push this button to turn on search. And now, to answer my question, ChatGPT is going to search the web, and everything it tells me is going to be grounded in citations, right? And so anything I want to
Interesting.
find out more about, I can go ahead and click the links, and you really start to see this awesome interaction loop pop up where ChatGPT is helping me with my research in the context of the document I'm writing. So awesome. This looks like all of the stuff that I'm hoping to cover. And so it doesn't really sound like me, though. This sounds like official results. And so I'm going to turn off search and just say, make it match the style of the rest of the stops. Keep it short, 2 paragraphs. And
Nice.
now ChatGPT is going to go out and read the rest of my document.
Side by side,
learn
yeah.
how I talk and how I've written the rest of
Side by
these,
side would
and
be
do its
better.
best to imitate that. And so, awesome. This
Yeah.
is great. Let me introduce you to one of San Francisco's
Maybe
most
that's what this
beloved
button is.
characters.
Or
You'll have to come to the tour to find out the
This
rest.
is the app
Sounds
for
like
us,
it.
so you can kind of go like this or something.
So
you
I'm
know,
just going
like-
to go ahead and highlight this to copy and paste it back into Notion. And of course, you know, I want to iterate from here. I'd want to refine this. But that's just a quick example of using ChatGPT to work with Notion.
That's awesome. I think that it's really compelling to work with your documents like this, not just code like I showed before, but your written prose.
Text sound like mine.
This is excellent, but it's just one way to work with the model, this sort of text in,
Write it like a
text
real
out
human,
method.
please.
And what I'd like to introduce today is support to use advanced voice mode with this feature. We're really excited about this. We think that this paradigm is a really interesting way to talk with ChatGPT and get insight into your documents or your code for that matter. All right, so we're going to show one of mine in a second here. When I'm not at OpenAI, I spend a lot of time as a professional saxophone player. And I've got this holiday party set list that I'd like some input on. I think ChatGPT would be great about this. But again, I want to use the voice to do this.
Is this why your holiday parties are all so good, by the way?
No, that's a different thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
got
okay.
Is it the suits?
Yeah,
I think
the
it's
suits help,
simple, not
for sure.
that motivated.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, I want someone special to really help out with this. So let's bring up ChatGPT again with the shortcut that I mentioned earlier, which is Option-Shift-1. And that brings up our chat bar. It's automatically paired with notes. But this time, instead of typing to the model, I'm going to use this new advanced voice mode support. So I'll use this icon in the bottom right to bring in our special guest.
Great.
Hey, Santa, are you there?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes, I'm here. How can I help you today?
Buy
Santa,
MacBook, yeah.
It is
MacBooks
so
are
great
nice.
to talk to you. Listen, I've got this
laptop.
holiday set list that I'm working on, and I've got a couple songs that I'm just not
If you
sure
like
about.
Mac.
This one, I've got My Love to Keep Me Warm. I honestly don't really know that song very well. Can you recommend something else?
Ho, how about replacing I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm with Frosty the Snowman?
Oh, that's
Fun.
a good idea. Let's see. The Snowman. Did I get that right?
Not quite.
So keep going.
Sure thing. So is there anything else you'd
Dual
like to
boot
know
Windows, Mac,
about
and
your
PC.
holiday set
Can
list?
you even
I
get
think
Mac
Santa was
license?
bored with the copy editing, but we can move on. Let's talk about the last song of the second set, Auld Lang Syne. I mean, that's a little
You want to start an advanced choice out with a chunk of
really
text?
get you and the elves dancing. What do you think? What should I replace it?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. You want to have
Deck
context
the
more.
Halls would be a perfect replacement. It's jolly, festive, and sure to get everyone dancing.
You like paste it in and then start a advanced voice chat?
I think that song's really gonna slay. I think interacting with the voice model like this is such a great way to talk to your documents and get live feedback on what you're doing.
Totally. And good news, right before we stepped on this live stream, actually, we pushed the button to ship all of the features we just showed off. So they should be available for you on your computer. Just make sure that you are updated to the latest ChatGPT app for macOS.
Awesome. So that's day 11. It's about using the
That's
desktop
it.
apps to see, understand, and automate the work that you're doing with ChatGPT. This is available today, as of 20 minutes ago, on our Mac desktop apps. Coming soon to Windows.
All right.
I love the desktop apps.
Windows.
They're in the background when you're doing work.
Windows
and
in the
then it's
background.
a keyboard shortcut, and they're right there and able to help you do whatever you're working on. So that's day 11. We have 1 day left. We'll be coming to you tomorrow morning, day 12. We got something super exciting, so don't miss it.
Yeah, we can't wait to get these features out to you. We're really excited. But in the meantime, I've got to start practicing this
You've got a set list
stuff
to
that,
learn.
that Santa recommended. All right, let's see.
Oh my gosh. He could actually play. Okay. Yeah, that's where he's have been kind of mid. So tomorrow has to be the tasks then. Okay, so that makes me doubt the 4.5 update, maybe, but the fact that the tasks have been leaked already makes me think that that's definitely coming tomorrow. What was the yeah, so none of these. So what makes me think is these tasks are probably gonna be tomorrow. I don't know if this is coming. Right now, we're kind of leaning towards the shit miss versus a shit miss here, you know? Just kidding. But yeah, cool, I guess. I won't be streaming tomorrow, but we'll still checking out the stream. I won't be re-streaming it, I guess. No stream tomorrow. But cool, I guess. No love for Windows users. Nothing here on the Windows app. I downloaded it while I was going in hopes that it would also be on here. See ya, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Appreciate the support. All right, let's go take a little energy detour. I'm gonna cover this Xbox story though. Actually, let's look at the we'll look at the space stories here I have, because I want to make, I think it was in my title, right? We'll cover the space story real quick, and then we'll jump to the Xbox One, and then we'll end it there. See you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. All right, K2 Space, which K2 Space, they make big satellites. That's kind of what their specialty is. And they're really betting on something like Starship, SpaceX's Starship, bringing down the cost to go to space. High power at low cost. The K2 bus, satellite bus. Multi-manifest up to 10 in existing launch vehicles. I don't know what that means. Here you go. See, this is their selling. This is what they're actually selling here. Traditional large satellites, long design cycle, hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, military industrial complex, constrained legacy supply chain of space optimized parts. That's code for military industrial complex. Significant redesign based target orbit. Yeah. K2 Space, less than 3 months from procurement to spacecraft readiness using production line style builds, 15 million or less cost per satellite, broad supply chains of commercial parts, designed from start to handle the environment to low Earth orbit, middle Earth orbit. I don't know if that's what actually stands for. Geospatial orbit, cislunar space. More mass, more capabilities, power of high throughput satellites, payload, volume of resolution. Yeah, so they're just making big satellites. This is the same exact. This is like the same website design as like Decart AI. Like you go down and they have all the like have these down here. Anyways, let's see in the news. That's it. Okay. All their employees. I wish these companies listed more on their website though, to like read into like what they actually do and like, I don't know, post blog posts, I guess. Okay, I guess we'll leave this TechCrunch article. But K2 Space will fly its extra large satellite for the first time in 2026. K2 Space is betting the future of the space hardware will be big, really big. Startup is building massive spacecraft under the assumption that launch costs will continue to drop as SpaceX's Starship and a handful of other heavy lift vehicles come online. Looks like the Space Force is talking up that their side of that bet, with K2 Space announcing Thursday that its full satellite mission will fly a number of Department of Defense payloads under a $60 million contract. Cool, that's cool that they actually got a contract, because as we kind of seen on the stream, we're covering these space startups. A lot of them don't even get contracts or even launch, or they might get a contract, but they don't actually launch anything into space. So that's a start. The mission, called Gravitas, will fly no earlier than February 2026. The satellite flying SpaceX's Transport 16 rideshare mission, will carry multiple national security payloads. Spacecraft will conduct operations in low Earth orbit before raising its orbit to medium Earth orbit. Okay, I was right on the MEO. MEO is between LEO and geosynchronous orbit. Oh, maybe that's geosynchronous, not geospatial. That makes sense. Geosynchronous orbit. Yeah, geospatial, I don't even know what that means. Has historically been an incredibly challenging orbit to operate in. K2 Space co-founder and CEO Karun Kunjur said in an interview. To even get there, spacecraft operators typically either need to equip their satellites with powerful propulsion systems or pay premium for launch that takes them directly into the orbit. Once there, a spacecraft must be capable of surviving the high radiation environment for the duration of the mission, but the Space Force has been building out assets in medium Earth orbit, primarily for missile tracking and warning, but also to enhance the global positioning system network. I think one, the big differentiator from the orbit types is how much it's the view of Earth it has. The higher up it is, the larger view of Earth it has, but also the longer it takes to communicate with the satellite. And as they kind of said, the harder it is to get into orbit. You need a much more fuel to bring it up to a higher orbit. And it's usually more expensive for that reason. And unless you're on a rideshare, unless you're being launched, these rideshare programs. Yeah, this rideshare, unless everything is going into the same orbit, you're going to have to use your own propulsion, like you're saying, to get it up there. Or you have to pay, or wait till there's another mission that actually sends you to the orbit you want. So I wonder what they're actually do to get up there if they're talking about higher orbits. MEO offers another level of resilience, Kunjur said. If you think about a multi-orbit strategy or multi-orbit architecture, what you want, if you want resilience, is to have assets that are in low Earth orbit, assets that are in medium Earth orbit, and assets that are in geosynchronous orbit. We believe that K2, we really at K2 believe in that future. That makes sense, but that seems more so for like government stuff. Like really, what if a business is usually a business or a corporation or whoever designing a satellite usually designs it for a specific orbit, and they it's not like Starlink having them in different orbits like this wouldn't really work because they need them in the low Earth orbit. So I just feel like this is really only for like governments. Because I guess like businesses usually design the thing around a specific orbit. Kunjur, who funded the company with his brother Neil, called the contract a steep step change for the business. A $60 million in funding includes a 1-1-1-2 mix of government funds, 1-to-1 to 2, small business and innovation research matching funds, and private funds. The private funds are doubling the government. That means $30 million came from backers, and an amount that nearly rivals a startup's $50 million Series A that closed in February. So they actually just recently closed this, so... Venture investors in the DoD have been pulled in by K2 Space's proposal for large hardware. The company's mega-class satellite features a huge 3-meter by 3-meter payload bay at a cost of less than $15 million per satellite, with lead times of less than 3 months. That's crazy. Less than $50 million per satellite with lead times of less than 3 months. Now, I wonder... let me finish this. The figures represent a paradigm-shifting change from traditional large satellite procurement. Okay. I wonder how much of this is literally just the fact that you don't have to go through the military-industrial complex of sourcing parts, and how much of this is actually innovation. Because I feel like most of it is the fact that they're just either, improving on the supply chain or sourcing parts or making them themselves in a way that is just cost efficient versus the ballooned cost of things in time in the typical government contractors in space like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon/RTX, Boeing. I feel like they know the system and that they're just kind of trying to generate money and don't really care about the actual end goal, how long it takes or whatever, as long as it works, and they just want to get as much money from the government as possible. Whereas these startups now are actually competing on price, and having a race to the bottom though in terms of price is not what you want. But if you're still making money, reasonable amounts of money to sustain the business, and undercutting competition by orders of magnitude, I mean that's a pretty like good sell. But I I will say right now though, with these startups, they don't have the experience, like the data. They need to kind of get some reps under their belt to get like more customers. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I wonder what when we're seeing, there are many other now satellite like builders. We have Rocket Labs, who we've covered multiple times, like Firefly. I don't know if they actually do, which actually I was going to cover Firefly. Here. Yeah, but like, but I guess like there's just multiple manufacturers that are just way cheaper than the existing. Yeah, here. I mean, Orbit hosting, rideshare, and delivery. Yeah, I mean, these are, and I guarantee these are a fraction of the cost. These are more so like deployment systems though versus actual. I want to see how much it costs. Ah, dang it. All right. Anyways, the Torrance, California-based startup's novel satellite architecture means that substantial percentage of the spacecraft's components are being built in-house. Got it. And this also seems like a trend too. We just looked at Nix, right? Nix Space. Or no, it was the exploration company. Yeah, this company. They are developing a bunch of stuff in-house, like avionics, propulsion systems. Yeah, they have several engines. They're building thermal protection themselves, docking mechanisms, flight software, avionics, in their digital platform for managing like the digital twin that they make and the APIs. Like, this seems to be like a good competitive advantage. These include things like reaction wheels, flight computers, solar arrays, and the 20 kilowatt electrical propulsion system, which will be among the most powerful to ever fly on orbit. And this is almost similar to exactly what we just looked at. I mean, yeah. The supply chain for these components at cost-effective price point simply doesn't exist, Kunjur says, which is why K2 Space is set up those manufacturing lines on its own. Challenge is not only designing it to hit the performance that the mission requires, but also designing it in a way that we can mass produce it. He said, it's not like we're going to build one, use it for gravitas, this mission, and then redesign it for mass production. No, the idea is to build this so that when the first one comes off the line, the second one is right behind it, and the third one is behind it, and so on. The company will also fly several technology demonstrators on SpaceX's upcoming Transport 12 mission in January. Oh, awesome. So that's way sooner for a mission duration that is expected to last no more than a few months. Okay, so it's interesting. Yeah, they're literally just trying to design things in a way that they can make it like a lot quicker, more efficient, and that's their competitive advantage. And it's, you'd think that it's simple, like the idea is simple, but I mean, obviously it's designing space systems is very complicated, but I guess the more business model of just like making it more mass producible versus like more hands-on to make it, that you'd think that would be an obvious like way to make things, but I don't know. I guess if we look at the traditional space companies right now, it's like they want the high touch systems because they could charge more for it. I feel it's more so just like their business model versus them actually wanting to innovate. So yeah, interesting, cool. I'd love to see. I want to see this more, or like more competition in the likes of things like space systems like this. Okay, let's take a look at this then here. Just a quick. When was this? This was yesterday. Yeah, the Japanese lunar lander developer iSpace has confirmed that its second mission to the moon will launch the same SpaceX Falcon 9 as Firefly Aerospace's first lunar lander. And I think this iSpace, they actually crashed the first time around, if if I'm not mistaken, because I remember watching it live. Communication with the Huggo lost during final moments. Yeah, I remember watching this live. And so this is the next space. This is the mission that they're talking about here. And so, yeah, the moon will launch on the same SpaceX Falcon 9 as Firefly Aerospace's first lunar lander. This is interesting because there's going to be multiple lunar landers going into on the same mission, and so they're going to be landing at likely around the same time. In an online presentation late December 17th to discuss preparations for its Resilience lander, Takeshi Hakamada, founder and chief executive of iSpace, said this company's mission would launch during a 6-day window in mid-January on the same rocket launching Firefly Aerospace's Blue Ghost 1 mission. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket not only be carrying the iSpace Resilient lander, another private company's lander aiming to reach the moon will first be riding on the same rocket as us, or will also be riding on the same rocket as us, he said. On-screen graphics say the lander was Firefly's Blue Ghost. Bloomberg first reported December 13th that the two companies would share a launch based on sources familiar with the launch manifest. Previously, the company were expected to launch their missions on separate Falcon 9 rockets, as iSpace did when its first lunar lander mission 2 years ago. At that time, Firefly and iSpace declined to confirm the report, referring to questions of SpaceX. SpaceX didn't respond, and Firefly declined. I would defer the answer to our launch provider, SpaceX. That's weird. Chief Technology of iSpace said Firefly's lander will separate first from Falcon 9, after which the upper stage will perform another burn. After that, iSpace's Resilience lander will be deployed. Wow. So like iSpace is just like releasing, they're like telling them everything, and then they like Firefly's like, I don't know, just ask SpaceX. The two spacecraft launched together will take different routes to the moon. Blue Ghost will remain in Earth orbit for about 25 days before performing a translunar injection maneuver. While in orbit, controllers will commission the lander and begin collecting data from some of its payloads. Interesting. It will reach the moon in 4 days after performing the translunar injection. It will spend 16 days in lunar orbit, calibrating its vision, navigating systems, and moving into a lunar orbit for attempting landing. Resilience, by contrast, will take a much longer route. Much of it, like iSpace first lander, will operate in an elliptical transfer orbit. Interesting, like more skinnier circle. And then use a lunar flyby to move into a low energy transfer trajectory, taking about 1 million kilometers away before returning to enter lunar orbit. On iSpace's first mission, it took about 4.5 months from liftoff to its attempted landing. Spacecraft crashed during the landing because of a software flaw. Yeah. Cool. Interesting. If these are live stream and during stream, we definitely want to watch this. And it's interesting that two lunar landers are actually going at the same time, but taking much different strategies and routes there. Looks cool. All right, let's cover. I want to talk about the Xbox thing. Come on to cover this here. Gonna have to sit down for this. Xbox has kind of been taking a different strategy than the likes of Sony with PlayStation. Also, this is the PS5 Pro they released, which this guy's really good at explaining stuff, and I always like his talks that he gives, like the chief architect. Yeah, and they're always very long and in-depth. Like, I do like this. Maybe we'll watch this one of these days, but we won't cover this today. But Xbox has taken an interesting strategy compared to PlayStation, and notably, likely because they're owned by Microsoft, but also they have the Windows platform, the Windows operating system, which a lot of, if not all, Xbox games are also available on Windows. And they also have things like the Game Pass, which is a big like driver for like moving to Xbox and Windows, especially, and with the acquisition of the likes of Activision Blizzard recently, and just a lot of other actual like developers like Bethesda, Obsidian, etc. They have a lot of big players under their belt, but they've been actually falling behind in the console market like significantly, and it seems like they just don't really care. Windows Central did a great write-up here. It looks great on their strategy, so let's take a look. 2024 remembered as a pivotal year not only for Xbox but the game industry at large. With gaming industry growth stagnant at best and costs rising faster than ever, many of the alarm bells rung years ago that AAA gaming was unsustainable have been playing out in slow motion over the last few years. Yeah, that's an interesting claim though, because I don't necessarily think it's unsustainable. I think it's more so the executives creating business models that aren't sustainable, like hiring and firing people, you know, year to year, game to game, instead of just, you know, being more risk averse in their decisions in developing games. I don't know. That's interesting to say that. Mass publisher layoffs, studio closures, and a decrease in venture capital investment in new gaming projects has led to vast disruption across the industry this year. Few are feeling that more than Xbox right now. Xbox has thousands of layoffs with its bulky Microsoft gaming division, which counts Xbox Studios, Bethesda, Activision Blizzard within its operation. Xbox has also had some huge content wins over this year too, with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle delivering what might be the best Xbox exclusive. I didn't even know that was an Xbox exclusive. The company has had in years despite the discourse surrounding it, because indeed it isn't truly a console exclusive. It's coming to PlayStation in a few months. And Xbox talked about console exclusives quite a bit when they were acquiring Activision Blizzard, and said that they would release, you know, Call of Duty at least for the next 10 years on like PlayStation and other platforms. But the worry was that Microsoft and Xbox would just buy up all these large AAA like studios, and then just make everything, you know, exclusive to Windows or Xbox, and kind of just making a monopoly on a lot of these AAA games, and not giving gamers the option to choose other platforms. After the Game Awards this year, Microsoft previously confirmed exclusive The Outer Worlds 2 was. After the Game Awards this year, Microsoft's previously confirmed exclusive, The Outer Worlds 2, was revealed for PlayStation, which The Outer Worlds is developed by Obsidian, which Microsoft owns, which reveals the next phase of Microsoft's gaming content strategy, codenamed Latitude. With comments from Phil Spencer describing how there are no red lines for what games could come to PlayStation, it's time to accept that Xbox will no longer have console exclusives moving forward. Everything will be either timed, with a few outliers remaining. Console exclusives for incidental reasons like developer bandwidth and so on. Even Halo, Forza, and Gears of War games commonly associated with the Xbox brands are not off the table. That's crazy, and I wonder like why, if they just maybe don't care about like Xbox as a platform anymore. That's interesting. No longer have console exclusives moving forward. Everything will either be timed. Wow. Like timed exclusives. I mean, that's cool. Like, I love to see that like they don't really, you know, not making exclusives, or at least timed exclusives, which still are a little dumb, but like, I don't know. I think that's better than having it be full exclusive forever. Why is this a big deal? Is it even a big deal? Why is Microsoft doing this in the first place without exclusives? Where does Xbox leave Xbox? Yeah, where does this leave Xbox console hardware? Let's analyze. The dilemma. Coming out of a pandemic, gaming engagement is largely flat, with playtime hours and spend time down based on some analyses. Analytics firm like Newzoo and Circana both described how industry growth has been kneecapped by rising costs and downturn in organic user acquisitions. PlayStation alum Sean Layden recently laid some of the blame for that not at other gaming companies, but at social media sites like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, which compete for the attention of the new generation coming in. Yeah, I agree with that, but Yeah, I guess that might be this, the simplest answer is the best or the right one, but I want to say that games offer like a bit more, I guess, just in general than like YouTube or social media. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, I agree it's competing with attention, but I feel like there's some more depth to just saying it's only attention. Gen Z is old news now. Yes, you're old. It's Gen Alpha that's coming up to the plate, and more than ever, youngers. It's like a boomer who wrote this. Are more interested in watching videos about games than actually playing them. True. I mean, I still watch like gaming videos, and I haven't really played games that much in these past like month or two. So, but I would say it's not necessarily because like I don't want to play games. It's just kind of more convenient for kind of what I've been like doing now. Yeah, I don't know. All markets hit their saturation point eventually, but the issue for the existing play field is that costs have risen faster than growth, leading to mathematical impasses, which has seen PlayStation begin supporting PC via Steam, and in Epic Games, Xbox supporting only Steam but PlayStation itself. Oh, supporting not only Steam but PlayStation itself. So I don't know if this is the market hitting saturation though. I feel like it's companies just not making cool enough games to get people to play, and not making types of games that people are playing. I think we might be hitting saturation for games on certain genres. We covered, or actually, I don't know if I covered on stream, but earlier I read a report about how people are playing less strategy games. But it's likely just because they're so hard to learn now, and they're just so much bigger, and it takes a lot of time to even get started on these games, where it's like, yeah, likely people aren't playing those as much, or they're really only playing them on certain platforms like Steam. I think looking at the gaming market as a whole is a lot harder because each of these consoles, each of these platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, even Epic Games, they all have their different cultures and different games that are popular. So yeah, if you're going to release a single player, narrative driven game on Steam, it's probably going to do worse than if you were to release it on PlayStation or Xbox. Or if you were to release an RTS game on Steam, it'd probably do much better on Steam than it would PlayStation or Xbox. And I think companies are trying to develop, these large game companies have to target the widest audience, and it's hard to make a game that appeals to everyone. And likely if they were to take on smaller projects that are more targeted, they would probably actually do better because they could have smaller teams, so less risk too. There's more like you're making it more for the platform versus just like appealing to the widest audience. So you could take a more data driven approach for the platform and looking at what genres and kinds of games are popular, which is definitely a strategy, especially on Steam, because Steam has certain games that generally statistically do much better than other games. And I feel like, yeah, this looking at it as a whole is a lot harder, especially like consoles, because it's such a wide market, but it's such a big market. But yeah, I don't know. I think though, maybe with especially Xbox and PlayStation, who own their own publishers and developers, they might need to refine the strategy based off of now like their publishers they have and the platforms that they could release on, and just maybe like just not take on such large projects really. I don't know. Okay, let's continue. The insta gratification of short form video content powered by algorithms that give you exactly what you want your brain to at least thinks you want / need has become a central pastime for many, for better or worse. Since Xbox is on the lowest rung of the ladder compared to Nintendo and PlayStation, Xbox, yeah, I mean there's also Nintendo, but Nintendo's in their world of their own. Like they just kind of do whatever they want, and this is like a Nintendo players like they're in their own island. This is Nintendo, and then over here is like Xbox, and then PlayStation. Yeah. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. But like Xbox and PlayStation might be over here. Nintendo's over there. Hardly. They're just barely popping out over the screen. Since Xbox is the lowest rung on the ladder compared to Nintendo and PlayStation, Xbox is feeling the pinch of the flood waters first, which explains some of its recent decisions. Circana. This is consumer spending by month. Change verse. Spending. Change versus year. I don't even know what YA was standing for. Since it was previous year. Microsoft states that it's seeing record users on Xbox consoles in direct, legally binding comments to its shareholders. It's interesting that they say this because they must be like implying that they might be lying. But yeah, if you say things to shareholders, if you lie, you get in trouble. Microsoft could be sued by the US SEC for misrepresenting its business. There's no reason to think it's lying here. And this is what is happening in Nvidia, where they underplayed how much of their sales were driven by crypto in previous years during the kind of previous crypto boom, mining boom more so. Jeez. And that's a big no-no. They're being, investigated, and they're going to probably be fined a shit ton of money. Indeed, things aren't as doom and gloom as the internet might have you think, particularly given AAA publishers are still eagerly building games for the Xbox ecosystem. If things were truly as dire as people suggest, we'd see swaths of major AAA games skipping the platform. That simply isn't the case for now. And in fact, we've seen games where the previous PlayStation exclusive come to Xbox to find new revenue streams. Genshin Impact and Death Stranding being two recent examples. There's no business opportunity on Xbox. We simply wouldn't be seeing this happening, and sources suggest to me that even more unannounced and previously PlayStation exclusive third-party games are slated for Xbox in 2025 as well. Yeah, but I don't they're acting like Xbox is so bad that it's not even worth building a platform for it, but you have to still millions of people still have Xboxes and actively use it. It's not like it's there's no one using Xboxes and everyone has a PlayStation. But fans like Microsoft predict and react to projected future. If Xbox isn't growing, then developers could one day abandon the platform in bigger numbers. And if developers abandon the platform, then you could see exciting games you want missing the platform. If people start feeling that they can't rely on Xbox for most content, then why stay? People leave, then why would developers stay? Death spiral. Yeah, it's like the network effect. You need players to attract developers, but you need developers to attract players. The chicken and egg problem. The bulk of Xbox income today comes from Xbox consoles, whether it's game sales, microtransactions, or services like the Xbox Game Pass. But bulk of Xbox income, that's what else would it come from though? That's every service they have. The dilemma revolves around growth and staying ahead of rising costs. The solution. Don't tell me the solution is a handheld device. But considering that PlayStation also is making one, it might be nice to compete. They still have to compete. They can't just ignore things and expect people to stay on the platform, though. They do still have to compete. In order to find new sources of revenue and stay ahead of rising costs, Microsoft has began putting its games into PC as far back as Quantum Break. Break's launch most 10 years ago. Despite being in third place, the strategy has served them well. Microsoft has been incredibly adept at monetizing the Xbox business despite repeated disasters and missteps. The Xbox One messaging nightmare came close to killing the brand, not to mention RROD. I don't know what that... Red Ring of Death. Not to mention the Red Ring of Death. I can't believe I figured out what that meant. I don't even... back in the Xbox 360 days. I was actually growing up a PlayStation player. My brother got an Xbox 360 and I played on that a little bit, but I was mainly PlayStation. The Xbox Series X/S had to navigate COVID-19 and also enormous chip shortages that prevented it from getting consoles out fast enough at the start of the generation. Despite this, Xbox sees record revenue in users thanks to innovation in services, inorganic growth investments like Activision Blizzard, and expanding new platforms. Microsoft's struggle right now is on messaging perhaps more than anything, as it positions its business for a new era while managing the expectations of most passionate fans and customers, and the investors who turn Microsoft into a multi-trillion-dollar market cap company. If I'm an investor today, I'm asking why Microsoft's saying $71 billion into Call of Duty and Candy Crush and not AI startups. I mean, this person is... Yeah, I mean, this is like partly true because just based off of allocating capital, arguably allocating in more trendy startups like AI would make people more interested in buying your stock and, you know, impress investors more than investing in a division like gaming that Microsoft isn't doing the best in and may not see the payoff of $71 billion for 50 years or how long, so I could see that. But I think as a shareholder, I'm a Microsoft shareholder, so I mean, full disclosure, I look at it as just spreading out, not investing fully, risk aversion, investing in other things that may work out or bring in alternate forms of revenue in case AI bubble pops or it doesn't become what it says it is, or the value that they create isn't as good as the customers think. I look at it as just risk aversion, de-risking, spreading risk out. $71 billion is a lot, but I don't know. I think it's like, I mean, if it was a little less, it might be more justified, but they definitely paid a premium for Activision Blizzard. But I don't think this is the right mindset to take with this. And indeed, therein lies a lot of scrutiny right now. Xbox went from being a well-funded startup with Microsoft to being bigger than Windows itself. Investors are now actively auditing what Microsoft is doing with a massive cash injection it's sent over to Activision Blizzard. Imagine if Call of Duty Black Ops 6 had been a huge flop instead of a massive success story, particularly as Google, Facebook, and XAI rapidly catch up to OpenAI and Microsoft's own AI platforms. As an investor, I'd be questioning CEO Satya Nadella's logic, and they most likely are. Yeah, but I don't know. This is... OpenAI only does OpenAI. Only does AI shit, It's the same way as like when like Google or Facebook investing in smart glasses instead of investing in AI stuff, or Google investing in self-driving cars or some shit, which arguably might be AI, but I don't know, you get the point. Like, these companies are conglomerates now. They're not just a single vertical. Microsoft is, look at, these are all of these are like different, way different. And look at gaming is like, one of their third largest drivers of revenue here. So I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with this. I agree partially, but I probably like 20% agree. The other 80%, I think Microsoft is. I think investing in gaming was probably a safe bet because gaming's arguably an emerging technology still. We're figuring things out as we've kind of seeing. We're going through the growing pains of that emerging technologies do. You know, we've kind of hit the peak for gaming likely, and now we're kind of hitting a plateau or a bit of a bump. You know, after these past like 25-ish years of like modern gaming, I'm talking about like modern consoles, like the Xbox, PlayStation 1. It was kind of, you know, late 90s to early 2000s when like modern gaming started, in my opinion. And we're seeing a plateau here, and I think, you know, we're gonna figure out as we mature, it's gonna be less about growth and more about sustainability. And these large corporations can't grow like they were a startup, you know, 20 years ago. Like, these are conglomerates, like giant, you know, entities in themselves. As such, Microsoft has to grow. Xbox has to grow. Sure, Xbox has to grow, sure, but that doesn't, you know, necessarily mean that everything else does. I don't know. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said to shareholders today, when was this written? 2 days ago. This is published 2 days ago. This is a long article. I don't know if we're going to get through the whole thing. Said today that it wants to redefine what it means to be an Xbox fan with a bigger emphasis on finding players where they are, rather than sinking millions, maybe billions of cash into increasingly expensive user acquisition efforts. And I'm assuming this user acquisition efforts is buying game developers and making them exclusives on Xbox, because that's really the only like user acquisition efforts there is for these companies. People's libraries are digitally locked to the platforms they're in. Microsoft figures at game events like Summer Games Fest told me they're not seeing users switch between consoles much despite their multi-platform plan. Maybe Microsoft is just sees the data and sees the trends, and they're just getting, you know, taking a different strategy than what they were before, or a different strategy than PlayStation. And so comparing the two might be not as, you know, not provide as like that good of insight into which strategy is better if they're just doing completely different strategies right now, and especially Xbox, where they're still trying to figure out what the strategy is. Maybe billions of cash. Yeah. The Outer Worlds 2 being announced for PlayStation was not a result of game being delayed out of 2025, nor was it the result of Xbox or developer Obsidian needing a rapid cash injection. It was decided as the result of the 4 Xbox games previously slated to move to PlayStation having no material impact on active Xbox console users. Microsoft is taking this as a signal that people are happy where they are and aren't willing to move platforms on the basis of what the other side has access to. Yeah, and this is exactly it. But if Microsoft sees this and is taking the strategy, it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong or bad. But maybe they're saying how the acquisitions of these companies maybe isn't justified if they are doing this. Because it would make more sense if they were doing this for console exclusives and they'd have it all in house. They'd have the entire vertical. But now that they maybe only have the part of the, you know, top of the vertical and then the bottom, like the consoles, it's not as good a strategy. I could see that. That makes sense. Microsoft considers that the bulk of those younger Gen Alpha and Gen Z users I mentioned earlier are graduating from iPad and Nintendo Switch all the way to Windows PC, which more closely mimics the versatility and openness of a mobile device. Yeah, maybe, yeah, I can't speak for Gen Z, Gen Alpha, but Microsoft considers the bulk of those younger, I need to see like a source for this. Microsoft is reacting to this trend early by talking about putting Steam and Epic Game Store into future Xbox consoles. It's reacting to this by investing a huge amount. Okay, actually, if Microsoft goes the complete opposite way of PlayStation, if Microsoft instead makes the Xbox an open market for other stores, that could actually be a great differentiator to PlayStation. Almost, even though they're not even trying to get people to switch over, it might actually get people to switch over for the fact that you could play Steam games, Epic Store games, and Xbox games all on an Xbox. That's an interesting selling point. That's an interesting selling point. It's reacting to this by investing a huge amount into improving Windows gaming performance, as well as its usability on devices like Asus ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion Go. Notably, the Steam Deck uses actually Arch Linux, by the way. So, but not you could put Windows on there if you want. It's just a little computer. Microsoft is also known to be building its own Xbox handheld. Sources tell us that Microsoft is also working on a set of in-game APIs and user interface features called Project Rainway, which is some form of cross-platform Xbox guide menu. Microsoft has been inspired by the in-game Battle.net social features seen in Hearthstone, Diablo 5, and World of Warcraft, which let you share and communicate across platform. That's interesting comparison. Battle.net isn't like, I actually we talked about this in my friend's Discord, but like Battle.net gets out. They always avoid all the drama with the stores, but like Battle.net is like, you can only play certain games on Battle.net. Like they're no different than Steam and Epic. Or Epic Games. Like people shit on Epic Games, but like they don't Battle.net. But I don't know. Actually, I don't really dislike Battle.net. It's like, it's not a bad app, actually. I actually think it's like pretty well polished. This means that for games running on other platforms from Xbox, they'll still have an Xbox flavor and in-game Xbox systems, maybe even cloud saves. Indiana Jones on Steam, for example, supports Xbox cloud saves. Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. See, that's interesting. Diablo 5 keeps your progression no matter what platform you're on. You're on too. Microsoft wants to extend all of its games in that that's what Microsoft ultimately means when it's with its marketing campaigns. This is an Xbox. Every Xbox game itself will become an Xbox. If this Rainway project reaches fruition. So it's saying like every Xbox game you'll be able to access like all the features of the Xbox, like their app. This strategy, of course, fraught with risk. I love to see risk in large companies though, because I feel like there's no risk. Microsoft is data-driven, telemetry-obsessed company, and it sort of has to be. When shareholders are involved, there's always weird disconnect between what shareholders want and what customers want. There's a desire for on-paper accountability, which leaves little room for gut instinct, innovation, or customer-first culture. This was really well said. Yeah, totally. The disconnect between what shareholders want and customers is also a very prominent issue today. And it's a balance, but I think those forces, those are arguably I would call like market forces, kind of like the same as it is with a corporation and labor, and the corporation and like workers, as it is with the corporation and shareholders. Those forces are kind of what allow the company to know what to kind of go after, I feel like, and especially the shareholder to corporation relationship. But a lot of times it's in disconnect with the consumer and also what the workers. And so I think that all of these forces together, though, kind of allow companies to know what to push for next, I guess. But also it allows cost efficiency. You know, late workers could push back if they're not feeling they're compensated properly. Corporation could push back if they think the workers are too, like, to negotiate. The consumers, just won't buy the thing, which is arguably them pushing back if it's not what they want. Shareholders won't buy the stock or hold the stock if they're not doing what they want. And all of those kind of work together to create like the corporation and like their strategy. And I think this is good for the most part. The shareholder one is hard because it's just money driven, likely, and the corporations pushing down on workers sucks because the corporation wouldn't exist without the workers doing the actual work. So some of those aren't the best, but they also, it allows, I think, a little bit of pushback in all of those. Mainly the workers, the corporation pushback is definitely good, but this is pretty well said. This is why you often see things fall fast through the cracks at Microsoft. Skype was the world's #1 consumer communication platform at the time, but corporate inertia saw it get utterly destroyed by rapid innovators like Zoom and Discord. When there are so many options out there, a company can invest 100% of its profits back into customer-friendly initiatives, can cut through and accelerate above legacy corporations that rest on their laurels, and leave accountability to Excel spreadsheets. Yeah. On paper, Xbox is cleverly getting ahead of trends over which they have no control. I worry that Microsoft is simply seeding around based off of faulty data, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's a big claim, though. But it doesn't matter either way. When you're a company as big as Microsoft, you have enough liquid cash to simply invest in the next big tech trend. During the pandemic service game boom, that was Xbox, and likely informed their decision to acquire Activision Blizzard. I don't know. Now we're in an AI boom where funds are being bending over backwards to buy up pieces of AI startups. Microsoft even have a brief investment spree into the fatty metaverse, which obviously went nowhere. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, let's just look at the... Windows itself is under threat from Valve's Steam Deck and SteamOS, which will debut its first third-party SteamOS hardware at CES 2025. That's cool. In Las Vegas. These devices will be certified by Valve and will give us the first examples of how much more optimized SteamOS with Proton is for gaming over Windows itself. Yeah, and this is good for those who maybe want to get off of Windows, move to Linux, like myself. I've seriously been considering it lately. Windows has come under scrutiny by gamers and consumers in general for its hardware restrictions in Windows 11, its privacy-mocking features like Windows Recall, and its insistence on putting ads within the Windows shell. If Valve SteamOS could eventually evolve to be a more user-friendly version of Windows for multimodal gaming that potentially presents an existential threat to Microsoft too, fixing that technically falls under both Microsoft Gaming and Windows, which historically don't seem to particularly work great together. Yeah, but that's what the competition is supposed to be. Supposed to be for. Valve, PlayStation, Nintendo, Microsoft, Nvidia, and whoever else are supposed to compete for our money and attention, leading to better products and better value. Competition gave us Steam sales and Xbox Game Pass. Competition keeps prices from spiraling out of control, and they help foster innovation. Despite the competition Xbox is facing, there are a lot of opportunities as well as reasons to be optimistic. Yeah, what if all Xbox games had Xbox Play Anywhere? What if all Xbox games were cloud capable on any device at any time? Yeah, but this begs the question is why you didn't call it Xbox? I feel like they actually talked about this. Redefining what Xbox fan is and isn't really something Microsoft or Satya Nadella can claim control over. You can't force someone to be a fan of something they don't like nor understand. Microsoft hasn't done a good job of explaining their plans for delivery upon their "this is Xbox" message. It feels more like a vision than something that can truly execute. What if I could benefit from Xbox ecosystem features even when I was running an Xbox game from PlayStation, SteamOS, or Nintendo Switch 2? What if I didn't need to jump through weird hoops to play with friends on other platforms? What if my cloud saves were truly universal and platform agnostic? What if indie devs supported the Xbox store on PC and by extension console as aggressively as they do Steam? Xbox's upcoming slate of games, regardless of platform, is stronger than it has ever been. What if the Xbox OS was extended onto my Windows PC, giving developers building games and the Xbox ecosystem a vastly bigger platform than my Xbox could offer on its hardware endpoints. What if Xbox console hardware could benefit by pure virtue being adjacent to a more gaming optimized Windows? Yeah, I don't. This is interesting. This is a good analysis, actually. Thinking about it from a business standpoint, you know, a lot of these big tech companies want reoccurring revenue. They want like services, SaaS software that you could pay every month for. And this in a way would allow Xbox to keep the Xbox brand and expand it over other platforms, and maybe like not making as many Xbox consoles, since it could be more open, and it could be more like lumping things in with Game Pass that work on other platforms, and you could throw in things like cloud saves, I don't know, other features that are, you know, a part of this subscription that allows you access to all the Xbox features and whatever across different platforms. Like that could be, I could see that being the case. And it would, yeah, I don't know, it would be I'm sure a lot more cost efficient too, because it's just recurring revenue. You'd make your money back over time. That'd pay back this $71 billion for Activision Blizzard. You know, if you have a large subscription, like it gives you access to like all of Blizzard Activision games, like World of Warcraft subscription, you know, and all Game Pass stuff, you know, maybe for like $40 a month, you know, you have, whoops, calc. Okay. Yeah, divide by 100. Like, bro, like you could bring in, if they're bringing in 10 million, 20, like 50 million a month, like you could get to, I don't know, you like that would just make the money back over time. Yeah, this is interesting, but I don't know. We'll see. The console market's kind of interesting now because we're kind of going through, handhelds are cool again, like they were in like, you know, the 2010. I think part of the reason why also, or handhelds kind of didn't or went away though, is partly because of how we were developing games. We're just much more inefficient. As we get bigger, these bigger games are just extremely complex, and because compute has continued to get more powerful and shrink, i.e. Moore's law, game developers could be more lax and arguably lazy with how they make games, and the actual just the more compute power makes up for their you know lazy way of developing games, I guess. And now that we're getting, you know, we could pack much more compute into a handheld, like something like this size, which is, you know, bigger than like Game Boys and PSPs and DSs. We're allowed to, we could now play these kind of games that the developers were more lax or lazy with, or just didn't make as efficient as they did older games. So it's kind of opening a new market. Yeah, anyways, interesting read, interesting write-up. That's all I got planned for today's stream. Likely no stream tomorrow. Yeah, likely no stream tomorrow. I'm working, I need to get this a YouTube video out that I'm working on for way too long. It's all scripted. I just need to make some visuals and stuff and record the video. So I'm gonna work on that tomorrow. Also, I'll probably be streaming Monday, and even probably Tuesday. But check social media or my Twitch stream. I'll update the title on Twitch. If I'm not streaming, I'll update the title. If I am streaming, just assume that I'm streaming. If I'm not, then I'll say it on Twitch and social media. But yeah, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll be back Monday. And if not, check my social media and Twitch title, Twitch stream title. Thank you for watching, everyone. I appreciate you showing up and tuning in. Appreciate the support. Be back Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific. See ya.